Very good. Yes, indeed.
Well, Dennis,
good one.
I hope that I sound better to our listener. My computer is often struggling during our calls, and my microphone previously was a little bit too close to the computer. And so I've moved it further away, and I hope that we are recording better now, because your audio was always crispy clean. But apologies to the listener for any previous mistakes. Welcome to Happy Hour, Dennis. This is
an hour. Happy Hour, and I hope that I sound melodious, as I apparently have in the past.
Yes, well, not a lot of happy in the world this week. It's been kind of a shitty week.
So do you know how newscasters modulate their speaking when they're reporting? Let's do that for a while. Well, Eric, this is the way it is right now in Kalamazoo. The sun is shining, people are on the move, and all in all, the data looks fair, but people are trepidatious about what could happen next.
Indeed, the same is happening here in Spain, where the people are more or less not bothered by what is happening in the United States, but we still have, it turns out there is still a worldwide pandemic that is going on, and we are slightly concerned, and we must all wear masks out when we walk in the street, and we all do the mime in the box thing when we want to talk to people, and we have plenty of what's that? The antimicrobial.
No, it's just something to find the right words. It's just such a touching situation.
Yes. It's not so much a touching situation as a 6 feet apart situation.
Well, here, Eric,
although I did elbow bump with a friend today. I saw a friend and we met on the street and we totally bumped elbows. And I'm not ashamed to admit that I'm an elbow bumper.
I did as well, and he has had COVID-19 several months ago. He said when he left, he said, well, it's like whatever. I think I've had it, and maybe I have it, maybe I'm going to get it. And if I get it, then I've got it. And then I'll get better. And I said, well, unless you die. And he said, well, I don't have any pre-existing conditions. I said, neither do the other 43% of the folks your age and younger who end up dead.
Yep.
So, sorry to bust your balloon. But then on the way out, he looked at me, and I was social distancing from everybody. Not even to the bump, because there were three of them. Three made my distance. And he put out his hand, and he said, oh yeah, here's a fake handshake. And I thought, no, it's not fake. It's different. It's not fake.
It's still legitimate.
And I wish in hindsight that I talked to him and said, this isn't fake. It's an honor to see you. But I was flabbergasted and in a hurry. But nonetheless, the connection you could make in the show notes to the group of protesters who were doing line dancing, I think is emblematic of exactly what we know is happening here, and that is the peaceful nature of this is winning out. And unlike any time in the 60s, as Barack Obama just pointed out in his masterful talk to the nation that I just watched before I came up here, he said, look, this is different than in the 1960s when there was unrest. This is like nothing he's ever seen in 59 years, nor me at 66. But the point is he was so hopeful because of the young people that are leading it. And he went into detail about how every movement, every age, it was led by young people. The people who led the movement were young. And it was everything that we would hope from a leader. It had nothing to do with Donald Trump whatsoever. You didn't. It was a wonderful 6 minutes because you never thought about Donald Trump, really, because you were mesmerized by the leadership skill, unscripted and from the heart and personal, and human, and just full of goodwill. Remarkable.
Yeah, it's the moments when I can forget about Donald J. Trump are just glorious, and that's speaking from super white privilege, of course. But yeah, I have seen 100 videos of the protests and shit going south and everything not being good. I've not seen the line dancing one, That's new to me.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This is a what do you call it? Shot, a drone shot.
Yeah.
Above. It was more than one place that I've seen. I've seen two, two different cities, and it was the best footage that I've seen on television the past 2 weeks, in terms of how it made me feel. It made me feel my best. Not to say it was the most important footage,
right?
Or necessarily, it's the way that it made me feel that is what is so buoyant about it. And then the Donald John Trump is so fucking stupid. He holds the Bible upside down, and you can read his lips in the photo op. And someone says a question to him. He said, "This is a Bible," because they said to him, "Is this your Bible?" And he wasn't smart enough to lie and say, "Yes, it's my Bible. And by the way, you know it's mine because I read it upside down." It's the way I read it because I just always had the skill. I just always had the skill.
Well, yeah. as I commented,
and the tear gas in there.
As I commented on the Facebooks, to be totally fair, it's the way that his family has always pretended to read the Bible. Like,
they wanted you to be able to read the title, so there could be no doubt. They didn't want the guy opposite to have to read it upside down. So when the Bible's upside down, you read the cover of it. The Holy Bible is facing the crowd, which, when you think of it, that's probably the way the prop ought to be. I'm surprised that he didn't have some fucking, in probably the commercial they're shooting at the time that's happening. They're going to create the halo effect around Trump's head and around the Bible, as if to say, of course, that as the newsreel shows, when he looks up after his discussion with evangelicals and looks to the sky and points to the sky and says, "I am the chosen one."
But it's just the whole idea of we have civil unrest. I've been locked in the bunker for a couple days. What is the best thing I can do right now? And for sure, his little pea brain did not come up with this. Someone suggested it, and he latched onto it.
Ivanka, right. This was her idea with the Bible.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So
lesson one: don't hire your daughter.
So he went on to decide, yes, I need to go stand with the Bible in front of a church, and oh no, there are peaceful protesters between us and the church. Well, what's his henchman's name? Richard Burr.
Bill Barr.
Richard Burr is the North Carolinian knucklefuck. Yes.
Oh, that's right. That's also a historical figure.
Yeah. No.
But,
no,
yeah.
Not historical. The guy that cheated on all of the COVID stock fraud.
Name.
Yes.
Common name.
Yeah. So Bill Barr told the fucking military to clear a path so that we can have a photo shoot of the commander in chief walking, which, like, he must have walked more than like a par 4, which for him is like, wow.
Across the street.
Yeah, but still,
across the street. It was a few hundred yards. It was
a few hundred yards, a par 4. Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about the news reports is that in the discussion with the governors just yesterday, it was widely reported that one of the things that Trump said was that the governors need to create a dominant force. And that was repeated then in his speech. And then, of course, he did it. Now it's known that the use that phrase call was in fact Bill Barr.
Right.
And it was Bill Barr who said it. It was Bill Barr who envisioned it. It was Bill Barr who made it happen. It was Bill Barr who said to the president as he was sucking on his dick, "You won't believe what I did for you." And the tear gas in the eyes.
He seems like the Dick Cheney of this situation, where like he's really the mastermind in charge of
the Machiavellian, Rasputin-esque backdrop of evil, cloying fucking dark side.
Right. Yeah. So anytime there's like a decision of, well, should we use our military force to clear out this entire park of people, or should we do something else? Bill Barr is like, fuck the people.
Barr surrounds the president with a foul stench of disorder and absolute political-esque fucking injustice. That smell is so overpowering. When he walked across Lafayette Square to the church, when he did that, that's what they first smelled. It wasn't the tear gas. It was the stench of Bill Barr shitting his pants in fucking joy as he walked across the fucking square with the president. That's Bill Barr, the fucking puppet master. The puppet master. Mr. Law in order. Trump's fucking standing in the world. Ivanka, well, that's right, Daddy. That's right, Daddy. You need to hold that Bible. She probably took out a Southern accent with fucking Jared. I think, we should hold up the Bible because it's what good people do is they hold up the Bible in front of a church. So let's do that. Good idea, Ivanka.
And that's what they've seen in like movies or something, because it's not in their lives. They haven't seen any sort of religion in their lives.
They think fucking Trump is Clint Eastwood, and it's like he's the equivalent of staring in the camera and saying, "Make my day, punk." And that's Trump just not having to say anything, just holding up a Bible and mouthing the words, "It's a Bible." And as one of the pundits pointed out, I'll recall his name in a moment, says, most people who would go to a church holding a Bible, when they get there, they'd open it and they'd probably read something. But that never crossed his mind.
No. He has never.
Not to mention,
he's never read a single passage. Like I guarantee you, like there's that famous speech where I just sent you one of these people that does these lip syncs over Donald Trump's speeches, which is just hilarious because
you said it? Today?
Yeah, it's about 20 minutes ago, where
okay.
It's because Dennis, what do you know about the app and product that is TikTok? Have you heard of this?
Oh, a bit, yes.
Tell me yes. what your opinion from your standpoint.
Frames of people each doing a dance, certain types of movement to a dance that are replicated. Is that anywhere near?
That's close. That's close. In my opinion, and I am also way too old to be a TikToker. I don't even know if that's the term for people that use it. From what I can tell, it is an app that lets you take some audio file, like this glorious podcast recording that we're making right now, and to add some video over top of it. So, for example, if there is a popular song where there's a particular beat that is interesting, you can go and do a thing where you are sort of dancing to that beat, or you can do a thing where you are lip syncing to what the people are saying, or things like that. And so there are some people that are making these TikToks, which is the noun now for what this is, where they're taking recordings of our beloved president and sort of doing lip syncing over it.
Oh, yes.
But like rolling their eyes and being like,
yes,
yeah, that's totally a thing. I've sent you some of these.
Two women.
I've sent
two different women.
Yes,
being Donald.
Yes. I've sent you two of these, Trump? but I just now sent you a more recent one that is about his discussion about the Bible, which was recorded way before his, I guess probably in 2016 during his run for presidency.
Put it up on chat. Oh God. Oh.
Okay, so you did see that.
That is rich.
Yeah. So.
Oh God.
So it's like. That is his appreciation of the Bible. I think it's a book, and I think it's a thing that people respect, and I think I need to also say that I respect it. And you mean there's two parts? Well, I mean they're pretty much both awesome. So that's about the level of his religion. As I said in a previous episode, I think he is
very funny,
an atheist president for maybe the second or the third.
Oh man, what a crazy day, man. Beautiful day.
What a crazy week.
Here.
But anyway, continue.
Went to my yard. I sent you pictures of implements.
You sent me a photo of your tool, which I think is really disrespectful. People have to request photos of your tool. You can't just send unsolicited tool pics. That's just rude.
Oh, mercy. There's something going on with my sound. Just talk again.
I talk all the time. Hello.
Oh, I don't know why you're not coming very well. I wonder What did I do?
Close whatever browser you had open. Blah, 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 blah.
No, I hear you. But... Maybe it's on your end.
Yeah, maybe it's on your end, motherfucker.
Well, I've got pictures of smiley faces I can send you, I guess. I don't, instead of my picture, I don't.
No.
I'm sorry. I'll quit touching the
Stop
dot.
emoting. Hello.
Something's happened.
This is what
Testing,
we go with.
1, 2.
1, 2, 1, 2. 3, 4. This is going well. Hello, hello.
So you're up on 2 screens.
Namu, namu.
There's a big screen and a little screen. So
What
when
now?
I close, you were up on 2 screens. So
How many screens you got?
maybe that was. No, it's just share screen. I don't know, man.
Don't share screen.
I don't know
I don't want to see screen.
what's going on.
What? What the podcast?
What the fuck? Can you hear me all right?
I hear you all right, man. You're cool?
I'm not coming across real quiet. Then it's on my end.
No.
I wonder if maybe I've suddenly gone deaf.
You're coming across just swell. I mean, you heard you heard Trump speak, and maybe you like shut down hourly. Hourly. Orally. Hourly.
Well,
What's that word?
hey, there's big stuff coming down the pike because of Obama's now. The primaries are almost over. This absolute overlay of this police violence and the additional arrest of the other officers for aiding and abetting a murder this evening that dates us pretty precisely.
Sure.
This is an extraordinary time that Biden will be the beneficiary of it. And with Obama and his full force of his intellect and his machinery and that of Michelle Obama and their entire people machine that made it all work for them for election and re-election is all now being employed. And it's going to be such a remarkable win that Trump can't say that it's because of voter fraud, because it'll be remarkably enormous.
Yeah. So one thing that I heard recently that struck me as super true is that Joe Biden, he is at his most potent when there is grieving to be done. He's gone through so much shit in his life that he's such an expert at grieving that whenever there is, and we talked about this a couple episodes ago about how wouldn't it be great if there was just a weekly 20-minute video of Joe Biden and some person that was hurting in the U.S. and he could just connect to them in such a way, but this is like now we are nationally grieving over something, and this is his bread and butter. This is where he is his strongest, is when he is grieving about the loss of a life or the loss of something. Yes, in fact,
he is compassionate.
In fact, I would say that is his strength and his weakness. Like he's potentially too compassionate, right? He's too empathetic. He's too. If there were a situation where,
well, it's
I don't know.
Say that is that he's so empathetic that it could be used against him.
But even so, if you feel the death of every wronged citizen in the United States so viscerally as a leader, then you are incapacitated to actually do anything, right? You can't identify with every single wrong that has happened. But however, as a speaker, he is so transcendent when there is a wrong to be grieved for. And this is his moment in that situation. And between Biden, Obama, and add to that the connection we had today, you and I, with Big Mike and his astounding speech in Atlanta, flanked by the chief of police and the mayor, who we've discussed, or at least mentioned as on the short list of potential Biden vice presidential candidates. The mayor, I'm blanking on her name, but I'm sure you'll remember it when you bring it up or whatever. But it is now clear to me that any African-American vice presidential female candidate will not have a prosecutorial background. Kamala Klobuchar's been out for a bit because of several things, but this is too close to home for her. But Kamala Harris, too, I believe now, is out of the running.
and I believe that they will lean heavily towards civil service and state and local leadership. And the Atlanta mayor is pretty damn impressive.
Her name, for the
Whether
record,
she's ready to be president or not.
her name, for the record, is Keisha Lance Bottoms, which
Yes,
it's a tough
Keisha
surname.
Lance Bottoms.
It's a tough surname to be on a ticket. It's but it is what it is. We elected
Donald Trump.
No.
Somebody did.
Well, we elected Barack Hussein Obama, so I think we can get a Biden Bottoms ticket. But man, that's such a tough surname for election. But she's young and youthful and awesome. It looks like from what I can see.
Yep. Well, we can only hope and pray.
Yeah. So that all happened. So I saw a movie this weekend. I've been super busy with work and stuff, but I paused briefly to watch a movie that was a Spanish movie that I will put in the show notes. God, I don't even know what episode we're on because I'm so far behind. I'll put in the show notes at happyhour.fm/062 because we're in episode 62. There's a movie that I watched that my 11-year-old daughter saw before us and recommended for the whole family, called Campeones, which means champions. And it is this movie. It's pretty formulaic. It's a Spanish movie, and I'm sure it's available to people with subtitles and whatnot. But the idea is it's a professional, like the equivalent in Spain of the NBA. It's an NBA coach, but not the primary coach, the secondary coach. I don't know if there's a word for that.
Assistant coach.
The assistant coach. Yes. So the assistant coach is kind of a jerk and thinks he knows better than the head coach. And at the beginning of the movie, they sort of get into this sort of tuffle during a timeout where the head coach is saying, no, we need defense, and the assistant coach is saying, no, we need offense, and the assistant coach is so full of himself that he gets into this sort of scuffle where he pushes down and not really punches, but there's a problem on the floor with the head coach. And anyway, he gets kicked off of the game floor and goes and starts and is upset, and he goes to a local bar and starts drinking, and then he's driving home and he's got his music turned up loud, and he bumps into a police car on his way home and ends up getting arrested, obviously. And his sentence is to be the coach of a basketball team of disabled people.
No kidding.
Yeah. So it's I don't know what the correct term is. People with developmental disabilities, I guess, is the term. So
Special needs.
So there's there's some people with Down syndrome and some other people that have other problems. And anyway, there's this special league for these people, and he gets put in charge of this team that doesn't know how to run or throw a ball or dribble a ball or anything. And as you might imagine, the plot of the movie is that, oh, well, this egotistical asshole discovers that actually other people are worth caring for, et cetera, because you learn from being around these people that just are so happy to have anything given to them, that et cetera. And anyway, it's a heartwarming movie.
And your kids recommended it to you.
My kids recommended it to me. And
that's fabulous.
And it was a beautiful movie. I recommend it to everyone if you can find it. Let me see what the Hold on, it just started hailing here. I'm gonna have to close my window. It seems to be called Campeones in all languages. It's got a very high rating on IMDb, which comports with my opinion. There you go. So anyway,
great.
So it was a fun flick to watch.
Well, I went into some dark waters because I was viewing the new HBO series.
Dark Waters?
I believe it's this much I know to be true. And it's what's his ass playing Twin Brothers. the Hulk, and it is Mark Ruffalo.
I know this much to be true.
Playing twin brothers.
Yes.
I know this much to be true. And it is so fucking sad that I couldn't begin watching the second episode.
Wow.
I watched the opening scene, and it was so sad that I said, I can't go there right now. And I'm thinking, well, when will I want to be this sad again after the first episode? Well, right?
Yeah.
Well, look, I don't know. It could be trouble. The acting in it is astounding. It's astounding.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's like, oh, fuck. Not a whole lot of real good. I mean, it's got its moments, I suppose, but of, something other than agony. But Jesus, it's fucking dark and hard. It's about 8 episodes. It's a one season series, which to me is it's an 8-hour movie.
Yeah, right. Middle-aged Dominic Birdsey recounts his troubled relationship with Thomas, his paranoid schizophrenic twin brother, and his efforts to get him released from an asylum. That's dark as shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about?
So I switched. I went to Billions, which is quite interesting.
Which I have had
something.
Wait, I have had to correct you on that because you kept calling it Billionaires. And
oh, did I?
Yes, and I discovered that it's called Billions.
Hour. Here's the happy hour, particularly if I'm talking about things at the end of the show.
Cheers.
Things happen to my brain.
Cheers, lad.
That's about your third shot, bro. What is it? Irish whiskey?
It's a Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker, red or black?
It's a red.
Or blue?
Red.
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 Red. Red.
Did I tell you about a TV show that I watched that was from Catalonian? It was it's where the language that they speak in Barcelona, and I watched it with subtitles. But it highlighted it was called If I Never Met You. Have I mentioned this? I watched it around Christmas time, I think, and it was maybe. I mean, someone can go back and archive and look at what we've spoken about, but the first episode was my worst possible nightmare. Of the father of a family of 4 was kind of a dick, and he didn't let his wife take the good car to take their kids to school, and because they had a shitty car, the three of them were in a car accident and all died, and he was left.
Oh my God!
And he was left right. So he was left just despondent, I am the worst possible.
This is Happy Hour FM.
Exactly. So it was literally my worst possible nightmare. But anyway, the rest of the show. It's hard for me to talk after that first episode. But the rest of the show was a show about time travel. And about if you could go back and change something, a mistake that you made, would you change it and how would you change it? And he had an opportunity to go back in time and change that the biggest mistake of his life, and how that happened. But also, he didn't really have control over exactly the dialing in of the time travel. So he ended up sometimes going back to when he was in college, when he met his wife that he fell in love with. And there was that sort of romance level of the first time that you meet. And also there were other times where he went sort of to the future and he saw with another timeline if that hadn't happened. And it was sort of a fun,
much like the time traveler's wife.
It was a little bit like that
in that regard.
But the first fucking episode just destroyed me because my worst fear is that I do something stupid and my family suffers.
Right.
Which is just the worst possible thing. So anyway, sad hour.fm. Here we are.
In heaven they never eat chili. Why do they say that?
I've never heard that.
In heaven they never eat chili. Huh? Or is it in Spain they never eat chili?
In Spain they never eat chili.
That's what it is.
I'm watching from afar. Your nation is sort of crumbling as we speak. like the whole relation between citizen and law enforcement is like, I'm so concerned about how, I don't know, maybe what is shown to me is filtered such that I never see the time when the protesters initiate the violence. But holy fuck, it seems like all the violence is being initiated by the cops. Have you seen these? That's
not altogether true. It is true that the federal police and video have reacted in ways and been in their reaction and under so ordered by Bill Barr, as we've discussed, et cetera. I mean, that certainly was a 100% peaceful crowd being dispersed. Yeah. Constitutional rights being stepped on, which is probably an impeachable offense. But at this late date,
impeachable to whom?
Who gives a fuck?
Right.
The president of the United States. Right. So, it's the end of the end for him. And now that the forces of good are being unleashed, and the fact is that these peaceful protests have now led successfully to the indictment and the arrest of all 4 officers involved. And that is exactly what the protests had called for. And that was done in spite of looting and carnage, which has been filmed as quite isolated in a crowd of 8, 10, 12,000, 5 or 6 guys running through a crowd, grabbing shit, breaking into a store. It doesn't take many to break through glass when 2 of you are ramming a fucking metal barrier into a plate glass window, but it doesn't take a lot of people to do that. But compare that side by side to the 60s when it was very violent and there was none of this. There was no fucking line dancing in 1919. It's got a whole new feel to it.
Yeah. Like, I've seen an awful lot of footage of the people breaking shit and graffitiing stuff being white people, and the black people are there, begging them, please don't do this, because it's going to make us look bad. But
that's the point.
Yeah, so
that's their point. That's the anarchist. That's right. The anarchist goal.
And it's so easy to go into a protest of 100,000 people and break a couple things and set a couple things on fire, and then you have changed the whole narrative around what that demonstration was about, which sucks. But like, they know what they're doing and they are good at it, and I don't know what.
Well, when it bleeds, so you're going to see footage of the violence in a loop that is 24 hours a day for news cycle after news cycle. In fact, that particular moment was 1/1000th of potential footage. 1.000 decimal point of footage. And if you were seeing from a helicopter the entire view of the entire march of any given city, you would see this little, well, in some cases it went on and on. In Minneapolis to begin with, it was fucking setting the precinct on fire was no small event.
Right.
Good God. But that has since changed. And, Big Mike's wonderful speech where he just implores folks not to burn down your own house so that you're left with nothing but ashes. And your house, instead of burning it, you need to make it a refuge. It's some of the most beautiful stuff I've heard from Big Mike.
He was so eloquent. And from what I know, that speech was more or less impromptu. Like, he got up there.
Sure.
But clearly he already had those 3 bullet points that he had clearly spoken before.
4 bullet points.
Okay.
Plan, plot, strategize, mobilize.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. So, like, he had clearly given a speech before where he had mentioned those things, and he did a great job. Like, one of the things about a good orator is repeating the thing that you want the person that leaves your speech to have in their head. And he did that. I don't know if he said that. I don't know if he said those 4 things like 4 times, but he repeated those in such a way. But like the first time he said it, it seemed like it was just sort of a turn of phrase that he was using.
You said there were so many. Well, plan, plot actually may be hyphenated, although planning and plotting are 2 very different things. Planning being more conceptual, plotting includes including then the who of it. And then
Indeed.
strategizing, which includes what to do, who does what when with the who of it, and then mobilization is executing the plan. The biggest problem is the mobilization.
Indeed.
That's where most things fall apart. Everything up till that point in time is almost bookwork, and it's conversational and often exciting and exhilarating. The fact of the matter is actually pulling the shit off means that there's a whole bunch of people who aren't in the fucking room with you when you're planning and you're plotting and you're strategizing, and they don't want to agree with you. And so when you mobilize, it's barrier after barrier. Good planning and plotting and strategizing includes identification of those barriers that are predictable, and then understand that for each of those barriers, somebody has to be assigned to attack that barrier, prepare for that barrier. That becomes an asset barrier busting strategy, which is exactly what Obama called for today as a result of the work of the 21st Century Task Force on Law Enforcement, whose report was issued years ago and has now been updated with the data that they've collected since then. So when Donald fucking Duck is fucking doing photo ops with an upside down Bible, fucking Obama, his worst fucking nightmare, comes out and provides the country with a message of hope, a set of specific expectations, a website, all led by him, the Obama Foundation. Oh, and Trump is gonna go fucking crazy. His hair will light on fire. You got to post the picture of Trump's hair on fire.
I refuse to. Yes. Yeah. So Obama, like, what can Obama do? I don't know.
Get out the vote. Get out the vote. Get out the vote.
Yeah, and if you can't get into the voting box to vote because of coronavirus, it's like
every state, United States of America has mail-in ballot system that's been in use for decades, and its expansion is not particularly difficult. And in spite of the protests by the Trump administration, when it is tried in the courts, it will be found exactly to be supportive of the nexus between healthcare and the risk of death and the risk of safety and the Constitution to hold elections on time every year from time immemorial. And in this, he will be soundly defeated, and it will be the most unsanctimonious fucking annihilation of a president in the history of these United States.
Amen, motherfucker. I hope that you are 100% correct. Fingers crossed. Please, Jesus.
Oh, where are you tonight?
There it is.
Why did you leave me here all alone? I searched the world over, and I thought I found
Jesus.
True love, true love, true love. You met another.
And that is the end.
Hey, bro, happy hour.